Hello, it's Demi from Rockstar Priestess here, and welcome to Venus Church. It is Friday, it is the day of Venus, it is the day of Aphrodite, it is the day sacred to love goddesses all over the world. So I wanted to take some time to just come in and really root into that lover goddess energy. Because when we're talking about Venus and Aphrodite and all of those lover goddesses, they are not what the stories we have left, especially the Western ones, have made them out to be. And they're not just goddesses of, oh, I fancy that person, oh, will this person help me get the person I fancy? They are goddesses of love, and love is the divine union, the pull of union that brings everything together, and the glue that holds everything together in the world. So there is nothing more sacred than a love goddess. Good afternoon, Anna, lovely to see you. So we're going to begin our Venus Church today by calling in the great goddess, the goddesses of love from around the world. We call in the goddesses of love. We call in Venus from the temples of Rome. We call in Aphrodite from Cyprus. We call in Alilat from the Levant. We call in Asherah. We call in Isis, Hathor, Astarte, Ishtar, Inanna. Around the world we call in Freya. We call in Rhiannon and Blodaiweth. We call in Oshun of the rivers. We call in Lakshmi, Parvati. We call in all the love goddesses to be here on the sacred Friday, the day of love. We breathe that energy in. And to begin our Venus Church today, hello Autumn, we're going to begin with a reading like you would in a regular church. And this reading is from the Homeric hymn to Aphrodite. This is a translation by H.G. Evelyn White. I will sing of stately Aphrodite, gold-crowned and beautiful, whose dominion is the walled cities of all sea-set Cyprus. There the moist breath of the western wind wafted her over the waves of the loud moaning sea in a soft foam, and there the gold-filleted hours welcomed her joyously. They clothed her with the heavenly garments. On her head they put a fine, well-wrought crown of gold, and in her pierced ears they hung ornaments of orichalc, and precious gold adorned her with the golden necklaces over her soft neck and her white breasts, jewels which the gold-filleted hours wear themselves whenever they go to their father's house to join the lovely dances of the gods. And when they had fully decked her, they brought her to the gods, who welcomed her when they saw her, giving her their hands. Each one of them prayed that he might lead her home to be his wedded wife, so greatly were they amazed by the beauty of the violet-crowned Cytherea. Hail, sweetly winning, coy-eyed goddess! Grant that I may gain the victory in this contest and order you my song. And now I will remember you and another song also. So when we're talking about Aphrodite, what I love from this Homeric hymn to Aphrodite, so when we are thinking of the Homeric hymns, these are the stories written down by Homer, the Iliad and so on. And these are recordings of what would have been a much older oral tradition. And in this we can see Aphrodite's connection with gold, with jewels, with dance, with desire, with beauty, with moistness, with wind, with the sea and with the waters. And I would just like us to breathe in the imagery from this sacred poetry for just a moment. So today in Venus Church, our sermon, if you will, we are talking about how the arts of the goddess of love and how Venus, Aphrodite and all these goddesses of love are a vital part of our life. We tend to put them in a corner and they are to do with very specific things. If you are after romantic love, that's when you go to the goddesses of love. If you are having romantic problems, that's when you go to the goddesses of love. And it is this narrowing down of the goddesses of love to just romance, which is two things. First of all, it is very patriarchal. So when we are looking at how we categorize deities today, and how in the classics tradition we look at deities of ancient Greece and Rome, they all have nice little categories, right? Hermes is the messenger god, he governs talking. Mars is the war god, he governs anger and war. Aphrodite is the love god, she governs sex and fertility. Yeah, they're all very neatly put in boxes, but that isn't how these gods would have been experienced back in their old days. This is a very modern way, very patriarchal and linear way of categorizing things that can't really be categorized in that way. So when we think of Aphrodite, Venus, the goddesses of love in all their many, many incarnations, when we're looking at it from a Western viewpoint, we look at it in that neat little box, right? We look at it from this point of, aha, she is a goddess of love. She is a goddess of relationship and sex, because that's what love is. And that brings me to the other side. In our Western culture, love is one thing. We have one word for love, and we kind of go a bit crazy with it, and we make romantic love the source of everything and also the not source of everything, and we just go hard for this idea of the only love that matters is romantic love. Yeah? Oh, thank you, Carol. This is another problem we come into when we talk about goddesses of love, because we're conditioned to only think of God in that one way. Relationship between one person and another person, and it's sexual relationship. And that's not untrue. Aphrodite and Ishtar and Venus, they all rule that sexual element of love, and we'll get to that maybe in another Venus Church, who knows. But that's not all love is. So we have this intense narrowing of what it means to be a love goddess. Yeah, it's not what it used to be in the olden days. So if we really look at Aphrodite and Venus and Ishtar and the other one that begins with I, Inanna, who was one of the original ancestress of our Aphrodite, they are not just goddesses of romance. And when we go and look into this, sometimes if we've grown up in the West and we spent our childhood reading the Greek books of myths and stuff and watching Hercules on the telly, we're a bit shocked and surprised when we find that Ishtar, yep, that's her. Ishtar was the goddess of love and sexuality, but also the goddess of war, and also the goddess of civilization, and also the goddess of the fields, and also the goddess of fertility, and also like being super boss bitch and kind of claiming her own self-worth. She is so multifaceted. And when we look at Aphrodite and Venus, they are similarly multifaceted, because love is kind of the root of everything. Yeah, let's be real. Our entire world works on love, because so often love and desire is it's that craving for union with something else. And that is what makes the world work. If we didn't have desire, if we didn't have that burning love for things, if we didn't have that desire, literally we'd just all sit here looking at walls and we would do nothing and we'd die pretty quickly. Desire kind of makes the world work. And if we were not feeling that love, life would have no meaning. And this, I believe, is at the core of why the love goddesses are so important. And this is at the core of why I am obsessed personally with the love goddesses and Aphrodite and Rhiannon and Oshun and all those beautiful women, because love is what makes life worth living. All the things these goddesses stand for: music, love, dance, relationship, beauty, laughter, play, sexiness, fun. All these things, they are what makes life worth living. A life with no music, no love, no friends, no beauty, no sweet songbirds singing or delicious warm blankets, that's not a life worth living. That's just an existence. And Venus and the love goddesses are what brings life alive, which is why, in my view, that love goddesses are the goddesses of life, because these energies and this goddess aspect is what brings life alive. It stops us from just existing and kind of wandering around pointlessly in an empty existence, as I'm sure we've all experienced every now and again in our lockdown adventures. It is that she brings the juice, and this is why love goddesses are usually associated with water, in my opinion, because they bring the juice of life, the softness, all the loveliness of life. So yes, that is our sermon for today, I believe. When we are talking about the love goddesses, we are not just putting them in this box of, oh, love and romance and sex. It is more than that. It is the juice and the flow and the beauty and the spark of love that brings everything together, which is why they are so important, and which is why I really, really believe, as you will know if you've taken my free classes or any of my paid classes, this aspect of the goddess, this aspect of this love goddess aspect is super core to every single bit of goddess spirituality. Even if you're all about death and the dark goddesses, and you're all about the Morrigan, or you're all about Hecate, even if you're all about the mother goddesses and you're in love with Mother Mary and Kuan Yin, all those kind of spiritual, elevated kind of goddesses, or the wildness of Diana or Artemis, or the fierceness of Sekhmet, who is a bad example because she is an aspect of a love goddess as well. The core of this stuff is always with the love goddesses, with their mysteries of love and bringing the world alive and making a life that's worth living and worth being here for. Yeah. So that is why love goddesses are important. Thank you for coming to our Venus Church. We are going to end with a prayer. So we're just going to close our eyes together. Breathing in and breathing out. And we're just going to contemplate everything we've just been thinking about. And we ask the great goddesses of love, Aphrodite, Alilat, Ishtar, Astarte, Isis, Hathor, Rhiannon, Freya, Oshun, Lakshmi, Parvati, to come in and to open the floodgates of love and blessings in our lives. May every part of our life be blessed with that juice, with that sparkle, with that nourishment and tender moistness and sweetness of life. May we be open to see it in the coming week, and may we always be walking in your footsteps, knowing that to walk the path of the goddess means to walk the path of the goddess of love in some way, form or fashion. Breathing in, and so it is. Thank you for coming to Venus Church. As a parting magic, I would ask you all to write in the comments one thing you are celebrating this week and one thing you are deeply appreciative for in our life. When we're walking the path of the goddess of love, it's a lot about reorienting the way we see the world, So this practice of coming to Venus Church, we'll do it again next week. I liked it. And remembering what you are celebrating, because Venus loves parties, and what you are in deep appreciation for is a really powerful practice. So I'm celebrating finally doing this, because this has been in the back of my mind for a long time. And I am really appreciating. I bought some slippers today, and now my feet will never be cold again, and I am so in gratitude, and I'm appreciating the hell out of that now. So thank you so much for coming. Venus Church is closed. Blessed be.